Yes.
Okay, assalamualaikum everybody. I think we're ready to start. I've got a brother here who's doing a Tajweed course, and he's going to start the program off with Al-Qadr, the surah from the Quran, because Laylatul Qadr is coming up. The last 10 days of Ramadan are coming up very soon. So this is why we're doing Al-Qadr today.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر صدق الله العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the kindest and most merciful. Surely we have sent it down in the night of power. And what can make you understand what the night of power is? The night of power is better than 1,000 months. In it, the angels and the spirit come down by the permission of their Lord with all that He commands. It is peace until the break of dawn. So this will be on the Laylatul night, which is approaching us, and we must all search for it. The Prophet used to do itikaf with his companions as well in the last 10 days. And it's said to be one of the odd nights, as we all know. We're not sure which one. How many years is it? 1,000 months. Laylatul Qadr is better than 1,000 months. We just yes. To be exact, it's 83 years and 4 months. So I did that calculation.
Okay.
But you're correct. All what Allah decrees is sent down via Angel Gabriel, peace be upon him, on that night. So, and God also accepts what is asked for on that Laylatul night.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that. I think most of you know me by now. I'm an alima. I do have 2 degrees within science. So my first degree was in biomedical studies, so I'm quite qualified to do this. And my master's was actually in special medical and mental health needs. I'm also actually a Muslim chaplain, so that's linked with this as well. And on top of that, I'm also secretary of Essex Mind and Spirit, which is an organisation which deals with mental health and how faith helps with that. So that includes prayer, fasting, and other things as well. Today's lecture is a very interesting one. We will look at the physical and mental health benefits of the recitation of Quran. Now, can we do that prayer in English or in our own mother tongues? No. Why not? There are 5 reasons why we do that prayer in Arabic, for a reason. Yes?
It loses its meaning if you do it.
Good. That's the first one. The first one is, it's the language in which it was revealed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran in its original format, and by saying the words exactly the same, there is a very, very strong link with Allah. You are talking directly to Him. If we change that to another language, it's not the same. Think of a film like Shrek, say you watch it in French. They're not the same, the jokes don't come out the same, it doesn't have the same essence, does it, as when you speak the proper language. Did you know there are some words in Arabic you can't even change them to English because they don't exist? That's how important Arabic is. So the exact words of Allah you are using, and it has a bigger impact because you are talking directly to Him. It's the greatest wireless connection, really, with Allah. Okay, the other reason I talked about in my last lecture, what happens when you recite the word of Allah?
You get one letter, you get 10 neki.
You do get 10 rewards, that is a very good answer. What happens to your body metabolism when you recite the Quran? We talked about this last time. What happens to the water in your body?
Vibrate.
Vibrates and
Energize you.
it becomes whole. Your cells in your body are irregular, the water cells, and when you recite the Quran on it, it becomes whole. Let's recap with this video.
Science has now revealed new secrets about water and the way water is influenced by the verses of the Quran. It has now been scientifically proven that water is affected by what is recited over it. Japanese scientist Masaru Emoto first began experimenting on water. Masaru Emoto said, "My Muslim colleague offered to play Quranic verses over the water. He bought a tape recorder and played some Quranic verses. And we got the most perfectly shaped crystals, subhanallah. These are actual images of the crystals that were formed after the verses of the Quran were played." Dr. Emoto was also told that Muslims recite Bismillah, which means in the name of God, before drinking water. This has been practiced by Muslims since the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The word Bismillah was found to improve the quality and the structure of even regular water. Alhamdulillah. Dr. Emoto completed these experiments, which lasted 15 years. He published a 5-volume book called Messages from Water. He wrote, "I have proven that water is capable of thinking, fathoming, feeling, and expressing itself."
I don't know about you, but I find that absolutely amazing. So when the water molecules become whole instead of irregular, it expands, and what do you think happens to your brain? It gets bigger, okay? Your brain gets bigger. The power of the Quran, the people who recite or listen to the recitation of Quran, their brain starts to fire symmetrically, and did you know their corpus callosum area starts increasing in size? This is because of the water molecules becoming whole. And when your brain increases, you get more chemicals rushing to your brain because it's getting bigger. Okay, so let's have a look at what actually happens. Did you know that cortisol increases the availability of substances that are needed to repair damaged tissues? All of that happens in your brain. And then the power of the Quran, did you know that dopamine chemical also accelerates? Now dopamine is the chemical which is there to make you happy. It's one of the happy endorphins in your body. This accelerates your pleasure, your courage, your joy, your motivation. And here is all the chemicals in your brain which increase. The serotonin is to do with satisfaction, pleasure, reduces anxiety, relaxes you, helps with learning and memory. And then dopamine makes you alert, makes you happy, increases your moods, your motivation, your memory. And then we've got norepinephrine, that improves your attention, your concentration, endurance. All of that increases and makes you get a big balanced mood. Okay? And all good feelings come from 4 special brain chemicals: dopamine, serotonin, endorphin, and oxytocin. All of that increases as that corpus callosum gets bigger because of the recitation of the Quran. Isn't that absolutely amazing? Absolutely amazing. And it actually tells you in scientific studies that all of this enhances your immune system, protects heart and brain, reprograms your cells, and cures illnesses. And we have already been told in the Quran that the Quran, and we send down the Quran that which is a healing and a mercy to those who believe. That's in chapter 17, verse 82 of the Quran. We've already been told that the Quran is a healing and a mercy. And then did you know that listening to the Holy Quran for 3 hours every day enhances your immune system, protects your heart and brain, and reprograms your cells? The sound waves of the recitation of the Holy Quran activate body cells and cure illnesses, especially heart attack and cancer. And it actually tells you in the Quran, again Allah says, so when the Quran is recited, then listen to it and pay attention that you may receive mercy. That's in Al-Araf chapter 7, verse 204. The other thing it does is it actually cleans your heart. So if you look at this, water is needed to clean a t-shirt. The Quran actually helps to heal your heart and make it clean. The word of Allah is actually the medicine of the heart. And again, these are all taken from very strong hadiths. Quran is the only medicine you can never overdose on. Okay? Now there is lots and lots of other benefits, which is the one I mentioned about in my halal lecture, when I said happens to the animal when we say the tasmiyah on it. Who can remember that halal tayyib lecture I did? What happens to the animal when you recite the tasmiyah on it? Who's got a cat at home and you put the Quran on, what happens to it? It actually listens and stands still, and his eyes are getting all big. And it just stands there and is overawed by it all. That's what happens, okay? And did you know that it is a sedative? It makes you bow down to Allah. Makes you submit to Allah. Your soul is craving for that satisfaction of remembering Allah. And when the Quran is revealed, is being recited, your soul wants to bow down again. Did you know that that's what happens? And we know already in the Quran that everything in the heavens and earth prostrates to Allah, willingly or unwillingly, and so do their shadows in the mornings and the evenings. That is what happens to you when you listen to the Quran. And people have also found that on plants and living things, this effect has happened as well. So I'm going to put a video up of a plant, what happens. It's an extra sensitive plant which shows what happens to it when you read Quran over it. Because don't forget that when you say good things to your plants, you know they say talk to your plants and they grow up nicely. When you recite Quran over your plants, they grow up really beautiful. Because the water molecules in your plants become whole as well. And they submit to Allah. So I'm going to put this really interesting video up of a very, very sensitive plant.
لا إله إلا الله العظيم لا إله إلا الله رب الأرباب ومسبب الأسباب وخالق خلقه من تراب سبحان من خضعت لعظمته الرقاب ولانت لجبروته الصعاب وذلت له الشدائد الصلاب لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلنا وإليه المتاب اللهم لك الحمد كله وإليك يرجع الأمر كله علانيته وسره فأهل أنت.
So did you see that? The way it's bowing down to Allah, isn't that just so good?
Touch me not.
Pardon?
The name of the plant, touch me not.
I don't know the name of the plant, my
I'm
friend. I can find out for you and let you know. Okay, did you know that it's a natural sedative as well, reading the Quran? So the power of the Quran, did you know that surgery patients who listen to the Quran's recitation before, during and after their surgery, They show reduced pain, anxiety, and need for painkillers. And that is actually the latest research has shown that you feel less pain when you listen to the Quran. And it's because of all these lovely happy hormones which are swimming around in your brain. The power of the Quran, listening Quran's recitation also relieves severe pain and headaches, anxiety, and no need for painkillers because it is actually a natural sedative. And did you know that the power of the Quran, listening Quran's recitation activates certain regions in the human's brain which are involved in planning, memory, learning, and attention. Unique sound waves generate positive energy, activating regions in that brain, all to do with those 4 things. Now we'll be talking a little bit about Alzheimer's and dementia. Did you know that all of these 4 things start to go downhill?
What is dementia? Dementia is the name for a group of symptoms that commonly include problems with memory, thinking, problem solving, language, and perception. In a person with dementia, these symptoms are bad enough to affect daily life. Dementia is not a disease in its own right. Dementia is caused by a loss of nerve cells. It is a progressive condition, meaning that symptoms gradually get worse. This is because when a nerve cell dies, it cannot usually be replaced. As more and more cells die, the brain starts to shrink. This can sometimes be seen in a brain scan of someone with dementia. These scans show a slice through the middle of the brain from the front, like looking through the middle of a stick of rock. They show what happens to the brain of someone with Alzheimer's disease as their dementia progresses over several years. Note how the black areas become larger. This is because the brain tissue, the grey areas, continues to shrink or atrophy as nerve cells die off. Common symptoms of dementia include problems with day-to-day memory, concentrating, organising and planning, as well as difficulties with language and visual perception, and changes in mood. However, each person will experience dementia differently, and the symptoms depend on the areas of the brain that are affected. For example, if cells in the temporal lobes start to die, that person might have difficulties with their language. Nerve cell death in the occipital lobes can cause problems with vision.
But when dementia patients pray, it helps with dementia as well, because all of these things are actually activated. And then the power of the Quran, more listening to the Quran's recitation allows old and brain injured people to recall their personal memories. Now I have got a story about this. With my role as a chaplain at the university, did you know that there was one patient who had a stroke and he had a dementia type brain and he couldn't remember anything. So he got me involved to teach him how to pray again, and slowly we went through all the rituals which he started to remember. As soon as I put the Quran on, he remembered all the surahs of the Quran, but he still doesn't know how to even write his name. He's forgotten how to write. He doesn't know how to read and write anymore, but he can remember again the surahs of the Quran off by heart. And that is just absolutely amazing. And he still remembers now how to pray and how to do wudu as well. So it does help in recalling your personal memories. What other thing helps you to remember the Quran? This is another reason why we can't read it in another language but just Arabic. What is beautiful and different about the Quran? Yes, we've got our lovely students again. This is what shows that the students, when they come to my lessons, they learn. Yes?
It rhymes?
It rhymes. Good girl. This is the other reason why we can't translate it in other languages. The rhythm and the rhyme would go. You heard Surah Fatiha. There was each end of that Quran was rhyming, wasn't it? Okay? Is that little Khadija at the back?
Sorry about
I let her off because I like her name. And the rhythm and the rhyme is what helps you to remember it. And this is why we can't change the Quran into another language. The rhyme would go. Because each of those words, we can't find a rhyming word in another language, can we? Okay? What else will that rhyme do? What is that rhyme like? Like a song, someone said here, yes? It's like a song. What do songs do? They make you happy. Songs make you happy. It's like music, halal music. Rhyming of words at the end of verses of the Quran make us happy, like a song, okay? And did you know that all the little rhythms within that Quran, they make different crystals in our body. The water molecules form different shapes in our body. So it's activating the water system. Some of you are a bit looking at me like, wow. So this is actually a piano notes, and each octave gives you a different shape in your water molecule. So you know the rhythm and the rhyme of the Quran, it's activating all your cells and making beautiful shapes inside you. Isn't that amazing? And prayer is a cure for lost souls, confused minds and broken hearts. Basically, all the metabolism in your body all becomes okay again. Right, lights back on, and if we can have questions now, please. Okay? Right, any questions? I hope I've sorted you all out. Okay, I think that's it then.
Jazakallah.
Everybody.